somebody I was talking to, they said they did tattooing somebody and they were like celebrity. And then the celebrity son was like, can you do a tattoo on me? And he wanted something small, but he was like asking him to make it look aged. He's like, what are you talking about? And then the celebrity was like, that's the trend nowadays. Like the kids want these aged looking tattoos.
Yeah, because
like,
some rapper had one and his was actually aged and he wants it to look like that.
Yeah. And that's like the trend. One of the guys in my shop put me onto he showed me this chat room where the younger people they want to normalize shitty tattooing. There's like a whole chat room about it. And I was just like, oh, like my mind's blown because all our work is just, they don't appreciate it. They're like, yeah, that's cool, but we want this,
Well, they don't appreciate it, but some people do.
Shit's about to go down. I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.
Hello, friends, neighbors, lovers, art and tattooing. Welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. I am here with someone I look up to and respect so much that I'm nervous to even do this interview. If you're a tattooer, there's no way you haven't heard this man's name. He has revolutionized tattooing in so many ways, it's hard to even put into words. His portfolio is a little bit mind-blowing, and I'm very curious to see how he was able to do that in his 27 years of tattooing. So yeah, he's a tattooer, he's a painter, he messes with sculpting and any type of art. He's putting his fingers in there, trying to expand his creativity, expand his knowledge of art and bring it back to his tattooing. He's the owner of the Raven and the Wolves Tattoo Shop, Long Beach, California. He's the co-owner of Bishop Rotary, one of my sponsors. And, beyond being a sponsor as a tattooer, just the best equipment I've ever used. So it's rad that I get to sit here with one of the guys that helped develop it and make it and supports me to use it. I'm happy to do so. So with all that being said, please welcome my guest today, Carlos Torres.
Thank you. No, what an introduction right there. I was like, what do I do? What do I do with my hands?
Hey, look, you can't shy away from your own truth. I know you're a humble man, but that's all true. And you are that to so many. So own it. But you're welcome.
Thank you.
And hey, look, busy dude, you're here hosting this convention right now. You run a shop. You've got this company of tattoo machines and ink you're involved with. I know, and you got your clients. So to peel off a little time for me, it's an honor and it's a pleasure. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm the one who's honored. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
Meeting one of my heroes.
Well, thank you. If that's true, I don't know. I'm going to brag about that. I'm going to tell everybody you said that. Actually, we're going to pull that.
It's recorded.
Yeah. And we're going to pull that clip, and whether you meant it or not, the world's going to know about it.
You truly are, man. Yeah. Truly are. The tattoo world respects you. And
thank you for saying
everything
that.
You've done. Yeah.
Hey, everybody, just want to take a moment and give a huge shout out to my sponsor, Sullen Clothing. If you're a fan of tattoo art and art in general, they make some of the coolest t-shirts, hoodies, and hats with some of the best art from some of the best tattoo artists in the world. Check them out, sullenclothing.com. Ryan, Jeremy, good friends of mine, thank you for your support. And now back to the show. I don't know, man. I just put everything in it. And I don't know how you make it in this industry without doing so. There's plenty of things you can do. You don't have to put your life, heart, and soul into certain careers. Yeah. But this one, I think you do. You know, there's no way around it. It's like, I want to be a musician and I want to be a famous musician. Well, it's an all-in choice. Yeah. And if you don't want to be all in, then be a sound engineer. Yeah. Be on the sidelines and record the guy who is all in. Yeah. And that's the game we're playing. And I wouldn't have it any other way, but I've done that. You've done that, and there's maybe we should talk about it later in the episode. But the prices you pay to do that, because you pay for that. It's it's not easy. But before we get to that, I mean, one of the things I'm always curious about with artists and creatives is this leap of faith that we all have to take into a world where there's no guarantees of financial future or being able to support ourselves, but we do it anyway. So we must have a lot of passion to take a risk like that. But everyone's story is a little different on why they made that choice and how they found that tattooing and why they, how they found themselves into it and were able to get where you're at today. So give us a little background. Like, how did it all start for you? You're growing up and tattoo finds you. How did that go down?
Yeah, I grew up down the street from a comic book store. So like probably a lot of us just that was like my early influences: comic book store, fantasy art magazines, was that Fangoria, things like that.
Heavy
And,
metal.
Yeah, heavy metal.
That was the coolest one, man.
Yeah. So like I grew up from all this while being in like growing up in the neighborhood.
And where was this neighborhood?
It was Gardena, California. So it's like South Los Angeles.
Okay.
So it was a little bit rougher, but for some reason I was like this nerd that like I liked that stuff. And I also did some growing up around a lot of the homies, you know, and I just drew. And as I was drawing all the time, you know, and we started getting older, somebody's older brother introduced us to a prison style tattoo machine. And everybody looks at me like, you're going to tattoo us. And I was like, you know, these are like gangsters, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, like, I don't want to mess anybody up, but they're like, you know how to draw, you're going to do it. So that was like my introduction. I just had a bunch of gangster homies that were like,
You were forced into tattooing.
that forced me into doing it. And yeah, you know, when you're like young, you do something cool. At least for me, it's like, oh, that was amazing. That's amazing. And then, you know, like looking back at it now, it's like terrible. Like they should have thrown me over a bridge or something. But anyhow, so that's basically how like my introduction into
Your
tattooing.
first tattoo machine that you tattooed with was a homemade tattoo machine.
Yeah, it was a prison style machine. All my friends had a lot of older brothers that were like gangsters. And so when one of them had gotten out of prison, he told his brother how they made this machine. So his brother made it, and which was my friend. And then it was just off to the races.
Tattooing chose you.
It's weird how I fell into that.
Because it's two different stories. I mean, some stories are people find it. I mean, I sought it. It was not coming to me. In fact, trying to get it was, it's like the universe was beating me down and making it fucked up and trying to get me not to do it, kind of.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't stop, you know. So it's totally opposite story where you were just in an environment where it was kind of forced upon you.
Yeah.
But you liked it. You, I'm sure when you did that first shitty tattoo with that homemade machine, you got this vibe. You're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I got to do this.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah. I mean, we were like young and naive, you know, so to us, that was like, whoa, that was an amazing tattoo. And it's actually like a real crazy story. I don't know if you guys want to hear the whole thing, but right around then, my father had passed away. He wasn't in our lives, but he passed away. And so I got this check for like 3 months till I was going to turn 18. And so I took that money and I like opened the back of a tattoo magazine. I made up a shop. I like made all this fake stuff and then ordered
Spalding?
I
remember the power supply?
It was the Pumas, but I was trying to think of that power supply with the big red bulb.
Fucking a giant metal box.
Yeah, dude. Like,
piece of shit.
What was the use of that giant thing? Like, it just had that big red bulb, like when you turned it on, you know?
That was all.
So,
I have one of those too.
Yeah. So that was my tattoo kit. And I tattooed a lot of the guys in the neighborhood and in the meantime, I was working down in the airport, you know, and I would try to get an apprenticeship, but, you know, yeah, back then, man, bald head and pants twice the size. I was like this skinny little homie, you know, and nobody was giving me an apprenticeship, you know, and there was a few people that kind of just would talk to me.
Listen up, all you people out there that might say don't apprentice anyone. I'm telling you right now, if someone's got it in them, they're going to tattoo.
Yeah.
You cannot apprentice them.
True.
They're going to fucking get there.
True.
You know?
True.
So I'm always of the opinion, if you sense that in somebody, then maybe you don't have the room, but somebody teach them.
Yeah.
It's better than just letting them go figure it out. Less damage to other humans, more progress, better for tattooing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the probably biggest compliments I've ever gotten was I was trying to get one in HB Tattoo, an apprenticeship.
Oh, they were big for a while. I remember this. What was the guy's name?
Tony Mucci.
Yeah, I met that dude. They still around?
No, he bought a shop out in Maui.
Okay.
And so he like sold HB Tattoo and but he came up to me, I don't know, maybe 10 years into my career, and he's like, man, I remember when you came in. And he's like, I kicked myself in the ass for that. And I was like, damn, that was one of the best compliments I probably could have gotten.
It
so,
is,
yeah. I still maintain a relationship. He's a good guy, man. So.
And that was a respected shop back in its day,
yeah,
for sure.
Really respected. Man.
On the map, yeah. That's dope, man. So you get the tattoo. This life you're living, how do you stay out of this gang? You're tattooing them, but you're not part of the gang scene. Was that hard?
Yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, we had like a lot of stuff happen, but man, I was raised by, like, my mom was strict, you know, and there was at a point in my life where I was like, man, I can't go that route, you know. This is more who I am. I was raised to be a little, you know,
Be a
not,
good
not as
kid.
wild as that. You
Not
know,
shoot nobody.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and so
I got a gun. It's a different type of gun.
yeah. Yeah, and so I just stayed away from it, and like, you know, but you had all the homeboy, like the hardcore homeboy friends, but yeah, you kind of kept your distance, and that was just kind of how I went with it. Yeah.
Well, there's another thing going on right now in history that you're talking about here, and this is the birth of the Chicano tattoo scene, right?
Mhm.
This is kind of the birth of a new genre of tattooing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, before that, it's prison tattooing, right? And
Yeah.
of course, but in prison, you've got your white supremacists getting tattoos, you got your Chicanos. But this, what starts as a prison, correct me if I'm wrong on it, starts as prison tattooing, evolves into a tattoo genre that has evolved into fine art and all the way to the top, right?
Yeah.
But even more interesting to me is you starting in that scene, that genre, and to have evolved it to what you do now. Because I can see the Chicano in you, that style, the women's faces.
Yeah.
But you being willing to you could have stopped there and just did cry now, smile later faces for the rest of your life and all that stuff. But you were obviously of the mindset, like, let's evolve this. Why can't this be better or different?
Yeah.
That's pretty rad that you did that.
I'm glad that you bring that up, because I've always kind of, whichever way the herd was going, I've always been someone that's like, well, I'm gonna go that way, you know. I don't know why, just the way it was. And you know, I think growing up and being around like that homie lifestyle, just that's all he saw. I was like, wow, I want to explore something else and something new. And I think that this is where like comic books and fantasy art kind of played this huge role.
You brought that into Chicano tattooing.
Right. Yeah, just pushing like the technical things that Chicano had and that look, and then bringing in the imagery I was doing in my sketchbooks.
Surreal, filigree. I mean, that doesn't go with Chicano. That's from like really mainly Europe. And that was my first trip to Europe. I was like, what is all this stuff on everything, you know, on the walls, on the furniture? And I was it left such a lasting impression on me that I remember the plane ride home. I still have my sketchbook on my first flight back home from Italy, where I was like trying to sketch these things I saw, you know? Filigree, scroll work. I use a lot of that in my work. I got my first inspiration from books. I've been to Europe many times since, and obviously if you go to Europe, it's just everywhere. Yeah. And it's awesome. But mine was from books, and I had the same effect on me. I was like, wait, you know, the whole thing with like large format, that's another part of you that we need to talk about, is there's just another genre beyond the style black and gray, beyond Chicano or photorealism or surrealism or whatever style you do. There's also size of application. That separates into its own genre too, which has its own needs and understanding of composition and placement. You do large format tattoos. You cover people. Yeah. You don't just do tattoos the size of a fist that are super dope to look at. Yeah. You're trying to figure out a way to cover a body. Me too. And what you run into, the problem I ran into, and I think you did too, Japanese, I didn't want to do Japanese, right? But they already figured out, how do we connect these different images and make it move on the body? Wind, finger waves, clouds, it works. Now you got guys like us doing not Japanese stuff. What do we put behind all this shit that's pretty, that can be organic? I can connect the woman's face to the demon below. Yeah. You know, and is that why you sort of like, this could be the connecting material?
Yeah, I mean, like there was a certain point where I thought that that's just what you do, Japanese style work.
If you want to go big.
So it started having this impression on me, and they nailed it. Like, they have that formula. And so my kind of goal was to figure out a way to do both of them. And
I was doing the same thing at the same time. And I was looking at Japanese, being like, all right, so the finger wave swoops down from the deltoid to the forearm in an S pattern, but I don't want to do finger waves because I'm tattooing new school shit. Yeah. So what can go in here? And I did a lot of things, smoke and fire. There's a lot of things that can do it, but filigree is a beautiful one. Yeah. Probably the most beautiful in my opinion, but also filigree, you know, I did a lot of research on filigree. What is filigree? And really it's a math equation. They call it the golden ratio. Okay. And if you look at how a piece of filigree, you know this, like, as it swirls out, that swirl has to be in the right place or it looks wonky. Yeah. And you just do it by eye. You just know that looks wonky and that looks pretty. Yeah. But that thing that ends up being pretty, if you put a map of the golden ratio on top of it, will match that math equation. That same math equation will match the universe and how a galaxy spins. That same thing. If you watch the way ivy in certain plants grow up a wall, they're doing the same math is in there. All these different things in life, we see it really everywhere. Even the way a wave crashes on the beach, you can see that pattern again.
Yeah.
And I'm just bringing it up out of curiosity. I mean, that's why I think it's so pretty, but it also makes me think about what, this idea of what is the fabric of the universe? Why is this particular pattern embedded in everything? It could have been anything. It didn't have to be this spiral pattern. It could have been squares and straight lines, but it's not. We have a spiral built into reality. Yeah. And so when you take that spiral and you find ways to put it, I mean, you can find it in a human face. It's not just in that, it's in everything. When you can master that spiral and work it into imagery and filigree and scroll work, it's immediately beautiful. And you're doing that, whether you're aware of it or not.
It's so funny you say that because I'm not aware of it. And I remember even I was teaching a seminar and someone brought it up. And I'm like, wait, what? And I was like, I had that dumb look on my face. And I was like, so I went home and looked at. I saw the
little video on it or something.
Yeah, but I guess I never did my research on it. But I do feel like there is like this formula to that. You
don't need to know the math equation to draw it correctly.
True.
Eye tells you that looks wonky, and when I do it a little more this way, it looks good. And when you do it good, it'll match that math equation. And I did the same thing. I was drawing filigree and fucking some of it, or finger waves and these different things, and they didn't look wonky, and I eventually got them right-ish. And then I learned about the golden ratio. This whole thing. It's just interesting because it does very much in your work. And it doesn't mean everything has to have it to be pretty. I mean, you could see, like, I don't know if you're familiar with like Mike Boyd. He's an artist from London. He does almost like Picasso, blocky, cubist. It's super dope. There's no golden ratio in there. So it's not like everything has to have it, but in your work, it's way there, big time. And that's why I thought I'd bring it up. Yeah, that's an interesting thing. And then, on the tip of like large format tattooing, that's its own game, I mean, to me, it's the hardest work there is. Just pushing meat around, trying to get through an armpit, through a butt cheek, and making sure there's some movement that can connect between the top of a shoulder to the back of a thigh. I mean, you play that game every day. Do you find that more challenging than the tattooing itself in a certain way?
I think so.
The composition,
laying out the composition, it's probably the most challenging thing.
Me too.
Then, like you said, pushing the meat around, just trying to get things laid on, like they're like naked, and you're just like, and it gets tough. And you know how it goes. Like some places you're like, oh, this is nice, that's almost your break. And then you get to like the rib cage, and you're just like, dang, like as much as you stretch, ink still ain't going in. There's so many challenges. But this is why I'm still in love with tattooing. I love the challenge.
I do too. I'm just highlighting that it's a different game when you try to cover a body versus doing a tattoo on a forearm. And the days I get to do those tattoos, you're like, it's like a vacation day.
It's a vacation day,
I get to go in and just tattoo this piece on top of a guy's thigh. I like that. I'm going into work on a, back to butt to thigh piece. And it's ass day. It's like I go to bed early that night.
There was a point where I was like, don't waste my days on small things, like just keep me booked at the big pieces. That's what I'm going to do. And now I kind of am like, you know what, every once a week, squeeze in something like this for me, because that's like my day off,
I'm doing the same thing. I'm doing more of them actually. Just as my age, I'm like, I don't know if I can push the meat around, too many days a week before I just burn out. But that's cool, man. That's very cool. You're lucky. Black and gray, bro. I'm full color saturation, dude. I'm not trying to make my job tougher than yours, but it is. I'm telling you, dude. I dream. I dream of it. I'm like, if I could go back, black and gray, man. I swear to God, I would never touch a color ink the rest of my life.
Oh man, travel's easy for it. I got 3 bottles of ink. That's it. That's what I travel with.
That's it. I've got like 9 different peach to orange to weird red, to dark red, and wiping it everywhere. It's a mess, but it's a whole nother thing with color. That's for sure. Yeah. And not to mention, what's going on with color inks right now. You're safe. I mean, they're pulling them off the shelves in Europe,
Yeah.
and they're talking about doing it here.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
A wild time in tattooing.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
there's many layers to that comment.
Yeah.
But the ink, the colored ink aspect,
Uh-huh.
whatever. I mean, I look at it like if they take our colored inks away, I've done black and gray shit. I'll do black and gray again, and so everybody that works with me, and that'll be the way it is. And if you want a color tattoo, you go underground, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know the science. I'm not going to try to claim to know the science,
Uh-huh.
but I do know a few thousand people covered head to toe in colored ink.
Uh-huh.
And they all are very healthy people. I've yet to see a consistent problem with any of them. Like they all died of this strange cancer, or 10% of them got this lung disease.
Yeah.
And here I am, trying to claim like I know it's safe.
Yeah.
But anecdotally, it seems fine.
Yeah.
It just feels like the governments want to fucking get in there and fuck with everything and regulate everything. I don't know.
Oh, man, how deep you want to go? No, I mean, like, I that's how I feel. I feel it's all like somebody wants to control it, and so that they can capitalize on it. And it's always like money to
regulate it.
Yeah, it's somebody wants to make money, so you regulate it, and then somebody at the top happens to have the license for all that, or however it goes, because there's a lot other things in this world that they give us, the food they give us that is like making people sick, and like you said, the tattoos, like I haven't seen those case study where it's like, wow, all those people are sick now all of a sudden.
Right. They all had yellow number 4.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it either. There probably has been some shit ink that moved through the markets.
Yeah.
But the pros aren't using that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you could order some crazy shit from China. I don't know, but the pros aren't using that stuff. And I mean, we're kind of getting on a tangent, but back to a point you just made. The worst comment you can ever hear is, we're the government and we're here to help.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's over for you.
Oh, yeah. You just shut the door and say, no, thank you, in my opinion. I'll take care of myself. Yeah, they want to help us. They want to close our, I mean, we should probably touch on this. I don't know the exact timeline, but you were opening the Raven and the Wolf. Is it the Raven and the Wolf or the Raven and the Wolves?
And the Wolves, yeah.
And the Wolves.
Yeah. Either one, though. Honestly, when I say it, I just say the Raven and the Wolf because it's just such a long name. I don't know. I was terrible at naming.
I just want to get it
things.
right. It's a cool name, though.
Thank you.
Very cool name.
Thanks.
You opened, I believe, in or during shutdowns or something, right? Or right before? Or?
No, we opened in 2017. We did have to do like the whole, like at that time, Long Beach had a moratorium on tattoo studios because of the old Pike days. So we did have to go do like all the talking to the city, and it was
scary.
Hard work. Yeah.
It was scary, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was, we all were. I was like, is this it?
Yeah.
I mean, I only have so much. I was paying all my staff through that. And I'm like, I can't do this forever.
Yeah.
Whether or not that was the right thing to do, I think we're getting a little sideways here. And I don't want to get our episode canceled or censored. Yeah. We would have to bleep out some of this, right? It's fucking, I can't. I mean, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I'm pissed, dude. I'm pissed. I can't sit on my little show and just talk about this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we should have or shouldn't done anything, but I can't even talk about it to some degree.
Yeah.
That's censorship.
That's
What did dictatorships do around the world? They censor.
Yeah.
And the fact that so many people seem like not bothered by it shocks the shit out of me.
Wild, right?
Yeah.
This is like the number one rule for America. Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And man, they just shutting us down. So
I want to say something right now that I know we won't be able to put on the episode. Maybe I'll say it and we'll take it out. But I mean, I'll just say a very powerful political leader just the other day was on the news. I saw her saying we should start thinking about prison terms for people spreading misinformation. Now, who makes the rule about what's misinformation? Who do you think?
Yeah.
The person that's making the most money,
that's
probably.
1,000%.
That is an obvious attempt to control the public's narrative. And if you go against it, maybe we shouldn't just cancel your YouTube account. Maybe we should put you in jail for a little bit.
Yeah.
Fucking terrifying.
Crazy.
That reminds me of like Nazi Germany. Like
it's scary, man. Like I'll honestly, like I looked at Elon Musk as our hero, like, yeah, he's fighter for freedom of speech. I'm glad he bought Twitter and blah, blah, blah. But then I saw Twitter pulled down this account of this guy I follow. And I'm like, oh man, that's kind of whack, man. Like you were supposed to be like
I didn't know he was doing that. I thought he was letting everybody do their thing.
I haven't done my complete research on why or what that dude had put up, but like
Something
still,
happened.
It was still freedom of speech, so it's something
you just
happened.
bummed me out, dude.
Yeah.
I was thinking we had
You
one
telling
place
me,
to go.
You telling me like I'm like pro Elon, like man,
Yeah.
like, the guy's like the savior of humanity and Earth, and I when I saw that, I was like, wonder if Elon knows that Twitter pulled it down, but
Maybe he doesn't know, or
Yeah.
maybe the machine is so big that he can't control all of it. I
Probably.
mean, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, he's definitely, if he's really means what he says, which is, look, I'm going to create a platform where you can say whatever you want, as you should. I mean, everyone listening, look, yeah, if you're trying to promote your website for human trafficking, we'll take it down. There's obvious stuff here we can all agree on. But
1000%.
yeah, or how to make a plastic explosives. Yeah, let's take that down.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, regular stuff, people could have an opinion. And it could be wildly incorrect.
Yeah.
That's freedom of speech. And I was under the impression that X is doing that. But I do think if he is doing that, I don't know, he's going to be working against the powers that be in a big way.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're trying to create a new movement with that much power and control around you, you kind of, sadly enough, have to play their game a little. It's kind of like if you wanted to be the president of the United States, you might have to do a couple things just to get there. Then once you're there, you could do cool shit.
Yeah.
That you might have to shake the hands of some pharma people and agree to pass a bill or two. Like, fuck it, I got to get there. I can't change shit unless I get there.
Yeah.
So maybe Elon's doing that. I hang a lot of hope on that dude.
I do too. I do too. Like my hope is that maybe it got fixed by now. So
yeah, I'm gonna do a little deep dive after you told me that. That's new information for me. I'll keep you posted.
All right.
Yeah, well, that sort of kind of rolls into this whole like social media, and you started at a time where we were like kind of unique. Just getting an Instagram account for myself and my shop was like, some people wouldn't even do it. But we did it in the very beginning, and anyone who did it in the beginning and had anything worth looking at grew pretty well. You've grown amazing, 500,000 followers on Instagram. But now it's not a matter of it is who's doing it. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Especially in the tattoo world, everyone. So having a voice or being noticed, it's difficult, right? How are you gonna see my post if there's 10,000 tattoo posts that day?
Yeah.
So, I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that and what you think, what it is, how it got here, where do you think it means, if it's becoming meaningless? Like, what are your thoughts around social media, its impact on tattooing?
I mean, it was a good thing, right? Like, because
it was a great thing in the
when
beginning.
it first happened, the public got more information. People saw what was out there and what could be done. Like, I started getting these, like, my clientele changed, it went,
Mine too.
It went tattoos.
Suddenly people were flying in from
CEOs,
Australia.
Doctors, lawyers, things like that. And they're coming in and so that was the good, and I think with the bad came, I guess this is evolution of the social media game, and like, there's like, speaking of free speech, like, well, maybe, I don't know if it falls under free speech, but I had put a painting up and I paint women and they took it down. And I went off on Instagram like, bah, 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 taking me down. And kind of ever since then, it just seemed like everything just plateaued for me. But
they put a lock on your algorithm.
It feels like it, because it was, I liked it though. It was organic. It was like, hey world, look at me. This is what I did today, or not even hey world, but this is what I did today. I hope you guys like it. And it grew so organically. And that was like the beauty, and now with the way things changed, and maybe like, because the whole like thing with like people only want to see 3 seconds or however many seconds, like, so now you got to make videos and do editing and basically dance for TikTok, and
you got to be a performer.
And I'm not with that, like, I wouldn't mind some kind of happy middle ground that where it didn't sell me out, but I'm just not going all that way, like the way that people are doing now that are getting that attention. So
I don't blame them. I mean, if you're a young tattooer and you're like, God damn it, I need somebody to look at my tattoos, I'm going to make a funny video today. And they're putting on skits and they're doing all this stuff. And older tattooers are talking shit on them. And I'm like, well, they got to do something. How are they going to have anyone see them? And if that's what it takes, I guess that's the game.
Yeah.
How you remain visible in that giant sea, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm sure other people could talk more on that. But another thing that occurred that is actually really is beautiful for the state of tattooing, the art of tattooing, is art in tattooing just ramped up.
Yeah.
Because for me too, if I could open
Yeah.
my phone in the morning and see the 20 best tattoos that are similar to the style I'm interested in, I immediately drew better. I just leapfrogged from where they left, and now they leapfrog off me. And you just, I think it's a big reason why tattooing's gotten so fucking good. Is everyone you used to have to drive to a tattoo shop and hope the guy would show you his portfolio. I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I just look at somebody. Wow. Oh, I've never even thought of those color combinations. I'm going to try that shit out today. So just in that way, it's been great for tattooing.
Yeah.
You know, so God bless it. Whatever's great for tattooing, even if it doesn't help me, I'm still for it.
Yeah.
You know?
But it is like my problem with the social media thing is like you don't even have to be good at tattooing anymore. Like you can be very good. Like, cause I agree with what you said, because me and you both were in that era where it's like, you took pictures with this film camera, you went and got it developed, you put it in an envelope, sent it off to the magazine, and you just kind of crossed your fingers that they would, you know, and then you would run and be like, oh shit, I made it in the magazine this month, you know? And that's how we got attention back then, you know? And these kids, they won't want attention, but I still would like the idea that they know how to tattoo before they get this fame and popularity, you know? Because I feel like sometimes they get it and they don't really give a shit about tattooing.
That's true.
Their tattoos, like, and I've always said this, like, because I think all of us have done this, where you look at your tattoos and you're like, okay, what did I do wrong? Back to the drawing board. But I think sometimes if all you're getting is this fame and popularity, it's like, well, why even bother going to fix it? You know?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. Also, I had Scott Campbell on the show yesterday, and he brought up a good point of, you know, as a large format tattooer, as an owner of a shop with 20 some tattooers down there, and I've had it for 20 years, I am in a position to see the shifts, in a unique position to see like, who are the customers nowadays, you know? Because my shop isn't just me and 5 other baller ass tattooers that we all have our clientele. My shop is some of those dudes and then a bunch of young folks, and we're trying to basically cater to the market. What do people want to get nowadays? And they still want everything. I still do big work, but I've noticed this desire in the youth towards large format dying off. Like maybe that's economic. Like, you know, let's face it, you want to get a bodysuit, you better have some money and some time. Yeah. And maybe some of these people are like, I can't afford that. So they're getting smaller pieces. Yeah. But Scott said something interesting. He's like, or as people become more identified with their social media persona, you know, when we were young and got tattooed, you didn't have a social media persona. What was your persona? Well, it was you. Yeah. It's the car you drove. It's the clothes you bought. And for us, it was the tattoos you wore on your body. Yeah. So people were willing to dump money into that. Like I wanted to change my physical persona because that's all I got to show the world when I leave my house. Well, I don't even have to leave my house to show the world who I am anymore. I can do it from my house. Yeah. And I could even put a fucking filter on it so I look any way I want. Fuck, there's probably an app where I could have no tattoos and add them. Yeah. There's me. So these young folks are building like avatars of themselves. So maybe if you're not as identified with your physical being, is it as important to cover yourself in tattoos? You don't need it anymore because you just use the digital avatar to represent who you are. Yeah. I don't know. But when he said that, I was like, huh. Yeah. But it does reflect what I'm seeing with a lot of folks, these smaller tattoos, simpler tattoos. It's definitely a movement. Yeah. You know?
Well, not even well done though. Like somebody I was talking to, they said they tattooing somebody and they were like celebrity. And then the celebrity son was like, can you do a tattoo on me? And he wanted something small, but he was like asking him to make it look aged. He's like, what are you talking about? And then the celebrity was like, that's the trend nowadays. Like the kids want these aged looking tattoos.
Yeah, because like, some rapper had one and his was actually aged and he wants it to look like that.
Yeah. And that's like the trend. One of the guys in my shop put me onto he showed me this chat room where the younger people they want to normalize shitty tattooing. There's like a whole chat room about it. And I was just like, oh, like my mind's blown because all our work is just, they don't appreciate it. They're like, yeah, that's cool. But we want this, you know?
Well, they don't appreciate it, but some people do.
They do. And yeah, I think people like me and you, we're going to be fine.
Because as long as there's somebody that they want clean tattooing, they want lasting tattoos, we're the guys who'll do them. But if you don't want that, I guess there's a spot for somebody who does aged tattoos. Yeah.
But I always look forward to the evolution of tattooing. Like you said, the leapfrogging, right? Like we got to start here because the people before us worked and built it here, and then we take it, and then the generations take it. I always look forward to seeing that, and so like I guess it kind of bums me out that everything we worked for, there's no leapfrogging. They almost like bringing it backwards, and
I hear you, dude.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but that's just this little segment of the tattoo collecting population, and there's a giant set. I think most people still want long-lasting quality tattoos.
Yeah.
And these little fads, they come and they go.
For sure. For sure.
You know, and on that note, I don't get popular for saying this amongst my peers, but I've always been the guy in the room who's like, honestly, I'm not going to do that tattoo for you.
Yeah.
But I'm all for you getting it.
Yeah.
And in fact, you're not going to get it at my shop. You know, we don't sell that product.
Yeah.
But if you get that whatever tattoo that is faded or old or whatever thing you're doing, or so tight that it's going to be a blob in a year,
Yeah.
and it makes you happy, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. As long as you know what you're doing, as long
Uh-huh.
as you understand it. It's like some of my tattooers like, nobody should get micro tats. And I'm like, well, agreed. No one should get a micro tat but if they have been told this little portrait of Jesus on your finger, it's going to be a blob in 5 years.
Yeah.
And then they say back to you, I don't care. Put it on there. When it turns into a blob, I'll put an old English letter on top. I want it to look, I'll have it for a couple of years. It'll look dope.
Yeah.
And then I'll put something else.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's the people that don't know that are like, I can't believe my Jesus portrait looks like it looks like shit right now. Well, they weren't educated. So it's just a matter of, honesty. And then after that, go do it. It's your journey.
I keep my goals for the future is buy a laser machine and get very good at cover-ups.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I tell the guys at the shop, start learning how to do cover-ups.
Yeah.
You know, when we were tattooing, it was like, the way I was taught was like, you take everything that walked through the door and you just built you learned everything. You figured it out. I never was supposed to say no to a tattoo. So
every genre.
So we did, my boss made it important I learned how to do cover-ups, and I try and show the guys at least what I think I learned during cover-ups, and I think that's going to come important in the future here.
Well, it is. I own a laser removal. My wife runs it.
Okay.
I have one. It's in one of my shops.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
And it's counterintuitive, but you get it. But
yeah.
I mean, let's lighten that up. Get you a new one.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I don't know if I would encourage people to who cares? Get whatever. I'll get laser later and cover it. Mm-hmm. Sure, but it hurts. It costs a lot of money. But yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And we do. Yeah, we do it. A lot of lightening for cover-ups. Full removal's kind of still tough, depending on the piece.
Yeah. Well, that's usually what I'm always encouraging. I mean, 2 or 3 people a week, I'm saying, why don't you get it lightened up, come back. Obviously the options are more open. You can get something that you really want,
Yeah.
Versus you're forced to get this thing and you're probably not going to be happy with that either.
Right.
So in the long run, go get a few sessions, lighten that thing up.
Anyone listening that doesn't want to get the laser and just gets a tattooer that says, no, don't worry about it, I'm going to smash this over the top. I can tell you statistically, half of the removals we do, are not just a single tattoo. It's another tattoo that's been put on top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like that removal gets way worse because you've got double layers of ink now. So, be careful. They'll just smash something over the top.
Yeah.
Because you might not like that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. All right. I'm going to propose an idea. I am a young tattooer. I am good technically. Like I have it in me. I've learned if I want it to be light gray, it's fucking smooth. If I want a straight line, it's straight. I can do it. I have the technical ability. I'm a master technician. Not the most creative guy though. I just don't think about art like others do, but I'm a big fan of your work. So I go to my computer and I upload 50 of your best tattoos and paintings, and I have it shoot out a new piece of art that looks just like your art. And then I get the client and I sit down, and I do a back piece, and it's fucking gorgeous because all I got to do is follow the map. How do you feel about that?
That's going to sting.
Gonna? It should already be stinging, dude. It's happening.
I feel like it's been happening, once I kind of had started doing this thing with the black and gray and the filigree and I started seeing like it popping up left and right, and it stung at first, but I don't know. I think as I gotten older, I just gotten over it, and I guess really that whole thing about the best form of flattery has come up. But I just like, I feel like those kids put in work, and then, but this spitting it into a computer thing, or putting it into a computer and seeing what gets spit out, I don't know how I feel about it. Like,
that's another layer.
I don't hate it, but I also still so new to me.
That's why I bring it up. New to me too.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know how I feel about it either.
Yeah.
I think about it a lot.
Yeah.
On one level, as a lover of freedom, like I have a rule in my life, which is you can do whatever you want as long as you don't hurt someone.
Yeah.
That's my rule.
Uh-huh.
You don't steal from me. You don't hurt other people. I guess, what do I have to say about it? You can be any sexual preference. You can live your life however you see fit.
Yeah.
So you have this tattooer. He's not hurting anybody.
Uh-huh.
And he's given somebody a beautiful, similar Carlos Torres piece in India.
Uh-huh.
A guy that can't see you and never will.
Yeah.
And so there's this aspect to me that's like, I don't have the right to say anything at this point. Now, there is a difference between that and plagiarism. Plagiarism is I take an image you've done and I copy it.
Yeah.
This is different. This is taking all your work, running it through an AI generator, getting a novel, new idea. And by the way, I've done this to see what these fucking things can do. They can take my art and then make new versions of my art that are fucking dope, that I'm like, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So now this kid is not only using your art as the information to the computer, he's getting a new version of your art that you might even look at and go, that's like me in 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's ahead of you.
Yeah.
Kind of, maybe.
Yeah.
And, I just think the whole thing is I know it's difficult.
Yeah.
It's hard not to, it hurts my heart, but I just don't know if I have the right to stop it or have to say you can't do it. I mean, we're not going to stop it.
Yeah.
Whether we hate it or not.
Yeah. I don't think obviously we're not going to stop it. I think this is just the next level of, here I go. I got to go back to the drawing board and work hard again, in this weird time of tattooing, I think one part to blame is people got comfortable. We got like
the gravy train for 20 years. Dude.
We got comfortable and nobody wants to like put in the hours anymore, So like, not to jump off subject, but like I've always felt like with tattooing is probably one of the only like careers where if you put in hard work, you almost immediately see it reward you right away, and
you don't have to know the right person or kiss the right ass.
Nuh-uh.
Like some careers.
Yeah.
You just have to
you put in the work, you put in the hours, you do all the learning you can, and it rewards you fast. And we got comfortable, I'm one of them.
You didn't.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, all right. But I think a lot of people got comfortable.
They did.
And then when the newer generation comes up and now we have technology and, the saying was work smarter, not harder. We're going to have to adapt a little bit, and just go back to figuring out. And I mean, I, as an oil painter and somebody who likes to come up with my own art, do the drawing, like it stings a little bit, but I've also played with the AI, like you said, and you're just like, damn, that's pretty good. Like, how'd that just do that? That would have took me
in 3
like
seconds.
Yeah, would have took me 3 months of work to do one of those things, you know? Yeah. So
so many layers to it. You just highlighted, like, on one hand, art's probably going to get radder because we're going to be able to collaborate with this very complex machine that can advance our own art to another level that we might not have discovered yet, and then use it in our tattooing or in our paintings. And I guess that's cool. And that's part of the future, not just in tattooing, but in science and everything. Everyone's going to be able to take their creative spirit, their human spirit, their and then use the AI, and then so it's like this collaborational thing that I think probably is good. But then I've got all these other dudes I know that I grew up tattooing with who got very lazy. They just did the barber routine where they're like, they just keep coming through the door. I come to work and tattoo them. I go home and watch F1 racing. That's my career.
Yeah.
They're closing their shops down. They're going back. One of them's bartending.
Yeah.
Had a tattooer call me the other day. He's a 20-year tattooer in San Diego. I'm not going to name names, but he's not that great. 10 years ago, he was thriving. He wants to be my front receptionist.
Damn.
And I was like, no, you want a tattoo here? He's like, no, I'll never touch a machine ever again. I'm done.
That's rough to
I'm
hear.
like, why you done? He goes, I can't compete, bro. Look at my portfolio. No one comes to me anymore.
Yeah.
That was pretty rad that he was that honest about it. I was like, damn, at least you're being real, because he's right. He's fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to make it, dude.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a culling of our industry, a clearing of anybody that didn't, and maybe we should call it karma.
Yeah.
I mean, the tattoo gods will give you whatever you want if you suffer and pay and put it in.
Yeah.
But if you don't, it'll take it away. And I mean, I was frustrated for a lot of years to see some of these folks thriving. I was like, this ain't fair.
Yeah.
These guys are killing it because they got the right location.
But
they don't really care about it like I do.
Yeah.
But I think that pendulum has swung the other way.
Uh-huh.
So I'm getting what I want.
Yeah.
You know, where you have to be, but at the same time, it's a little scary for a lot of folks. I don't know. That kind of leads us into what I'd ask you next, which is that question about the tattoo industry. You haven't slowed down. I'm not talking about you or your shop, but I know you've heard it. Everyone talking about, dude, where's everybody at? Where's everybody at?
Yeah.
What do you think's going on there? What do you think beyond what we already talked about?
I think we got the perfect storm of things happening with obviously economy. Like you got eggs that I don't even know how much it costs. Eggs, gas, groceries. So a lot of people just to you got to make a choice like eat or get that sleeve.
Right.
And then I think you have that. I think you have during COVID. I think you had a lot of people who kind of ordered that Amazon kit, and we're like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. And like we were talking about the smaller tattoos. Well, the bar for entry is lower now. So yeah, they can do. I mean, you got like nail shops doing like these tiny little tattoos, and is whatever. They're not going to last, obviously.
You're talking about saturation right now. There's just more of them. More people doing it.
Yeah, it's oversaturated. So you got that, and then you had like artists that just got comfortable and don't want to put in the work right now.
And they're suffering. And
I think like I don't know for most people, for me, like anytime it's been like, okay, we're being challenged now. Like I'm working harder now than ever, but I know guys I personally know guys that, are still like, well, 1 or 2 days a week is good. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't work for 3 weeks. Like,
right.
Come on. But yeah, what are we going to do,
Well, we can't change it. That's for sure. Yeah. I think just trying to understand it, most of my trying to understand it has to do with my shops, not even for my own profit margins. I just care so much about everybody in there. For sure. It's like, now I got this new job. I've got to figure out the economy. I got to figure out marketing. I got to figure out, and we've done some things that are working, and a lot of it just has to do for me. Like, this is shop owner stuff. Yeah. You might notice this too, but we have a marketing budget. Never thought I'd have one of those. Yeah. And it's big, Yeah. And it's interesting that that's part of the game now. And maybe it won't be forever. Maybe the economy bounces back. So a lot of tattooers figure out that they're leaving. And then maybe we have another little, gets back to the way it was with, we'll see. But until we get there, I'm doing things that I haven't had to do before to keep business thriving,
For sure. For sure. And I mean, like, same at our studio, like, I got some guys that are like hardworking grinders, always trying to learn, on their days off, they're in the back painting, they're doing, but it just like, when I hear these stories, I always feel like it's probably falling into one of those things.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I just wanted to hear your opinion because I know that's when you talk to tattooers, everybody's asking that question. So you've been around a long time. I'm sure people like to hear your opinion. We're on the same page. Yeah. I think the answer, I mean, I might quit asking that question because the answer has been the same every time. It's a perfect storm and we'll see what comes next.
Yeah.
From that perspective, what do you say to the young tattooers that call you up and tell you or you meet you and want to become tattooers? I had a response for a long time if they had talent, which was like, come on, bud. Like, I'll have you making $100,000 in a year. Like, I can't say that to them anymore. I'm telling a lot of them, I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Like what you just said to me is you want to get where I'm at. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to be the next raddest rock musician. The odds are really, 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 really slim. Yeah. Now, if you're so passionate that you don't care, then let's go. Yeah. But this road to just a good, steady income as a solid, grounded, hardworking tattooer, I don't know if I can promise you that. Yeah. And I don't want to be responsible if I take you on as an apprentice and in 2 years, you wasted 2 years and you're back to working at a coffee shop. Yeah. And I'm part of your story. So that's where I'm at with what I tell people. Are you kind of in that place too?
Yeah, pretty much.
Give them a little warning.
Yeah. I mean, like the apprenticeships we do or that I do is I've only actually had like, this is my second apprentice under me, and I just work hard, man. Work hard, study as much as you can. Like your shop, you guys have amazing artists always coming through and so it's like, go watch that guy. But you know what's crazy is I was talking to somebody the other day and they're like, you need to add marketing in your apprenticeship, and I was like, damn.
Such a bummer.
I don't really know shit about it. I'm a tattoo artist, man.
Yeah.
But they're right. They're right. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the game now with the social media. So,
you know, and in respect to that too, I mean, to be fair, all industries had to do that. We got away with not doing it.
True.
And now that we have to do it, everyone's crying about it. But hey, look, if you wanted to be a dentist or anything 20 years ago, there were plenty of dentists. There was the world didn't need another dentist.
Yeah.
So why did you become one? Maybe you loved being a doctor. And then when you got into dentistry, you had to market and you had to do all these things that business owners have to do to gather up your clientele and become successful. We got away with not doing any of it most of our careers, and now we've got to do it. So in my opinion, it's just like tattooing became a mature, normal industry like all other industries. Yeah. So if you're an owner, which you are, you also own a company that builds equipment. That's even another level of business. I mean, that takes, then we have to do marketing and meetings and all these things. That's just part of the game now.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually kind of like, I'm so thankful that happened with the other companies, because now with this happening in tattooing, it's like, okay, let me pull the things I learned from over there into the shop. You learn
business
and
over
figure
there,
out how to market our shop,
And you've probably got people that work over at Bishop and these places that can help you with marketing for your tattoo shop.
Yeah.
That is, you are lucky. You are already prepping and learning these things before you needed them, and now you need them, and now you're probably more robustly situated to put that out there.
When we got into tattooing, and it was like that perfect time where we got just enough old school where they was like, oh, you're going to open up a shop next to me, across the street from me?
No, you're not.
Here's a cocktail bomb right there, and into like got into the Renaissance, like the artsy, side of things. And the first time I read a bad Yelp review for us, but the old school tattooer side in me was like, where do we find this person? And it was funny having to have the younger shop manager call me down like, no, we should handle it like this. Like,
oh yeah, oh totally. We let our management handle it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even want to say this out loud. I don't mind encourage some shitty people to do it. Never mind on that. But yes, it is funny how. And let me ask you. You, in my opinion, you're a winner. You're one of those people that's going out there kicking ass in life, doing what it takes. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm one of those people too. How many times have you jumped on Yelp and talked shit on a restaurant because you didn't like it?
Never.
I've never written a negative anything ever. No. And the times I wanted to write something, whether it be a restaurant or anything, I took the responsibility to go and talk to them personally.
Yeah.
If I'm that angry, I know there's some dude that mortgaged his house to start this sandwich shop.
Yeah.
He should know that the kids working there are fuck ups.
Yeah.
I'm not going to write it on Yelp.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that the kid that he hired is fucking up sandwiches.
Yeah.
So if I really care that much, I'm going to find him and be like, hey man, owner to owner, this kid is fucking up your sandwich shop.
Yeah.
But to go on Yelp and be like, these space sucks because this happened. Anyone listening that's doing that, you got to realize, man, you're hurting innocent people.
Yeah.
I mean, there might be a line where the owner himself walks out and slaps you across the face.
Yeah.
Obviously. But these are the normal complaints are just like, oh, I couldn't get in and they told me I had to wait a month. It's like, what are you doing? Like I've put my business, I employ people. You're trying to sink, you're hurting people.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand they're doing that when they get angry online.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, like also we're from a different era, right? Like we told people face to face what we thought, this era of people just commenting, arguing online, dropping negative comments and this and that, and this might sound rough, but like, I feel like what went wrong is going wrong with the world right now is people stop getting punched in the face, before you did something wrong, you got punched in the face and it was a correction.
Yeah.
Like my dogs, like when my puppy does something wrong, the older dog corrects him, lets him know how it goes, Now you don't have to do it anymore.
You can
do it
safely
online.
be a dick.
Uh-huh.
And no one can touch you.
Yeah.
I
know it's wrong to say because I don't encourage violence. I'm actually a pretty peaceful person.
It's not what you meant though. You're not. You're illustrating a point that there was a world where If you wanted to get in someone's face, you had to be important enough for you to take a risk and stand up for what you believed. And honestly, if you were willing to stand up and take that risk, it was a filter. What you had to say was probably important.
Yeah.
But if you could just casually do it while you're taking a shit, you know, and you've already kind of a shitty dude, or you're already angry because of your wife just divorced you, and you're just pissed off because your job and your boss sucks, and you just got anger flowing through you, and you're just sitting in your house like, fuck these people. Yeah, this is bullshit. I went here. Those people suck. It's like, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. Be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I mean, like you said, like go handle it the other way, you know, just, hey, like,
if it
you know, I
means
just want to
that
let you
much
know,
to you,
man, like you said that people in the sandwich shop, they're not doing you right, you know, but here I am telling you face to face, not, you know.
Yeah. Come down and tell me.
Yeah.
Write me. You don't have to come down and tell me. I'm on Instagram. You think there's something wrong with my businesses? Please let me know. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to fix it. I'd love to fucking take care of it.
Yeah.
But this anonymous stuff is sad, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not really worried about it. We don't deal with it that much. It's not going to sink my ship.
Yeah.
Honestly, the new emotion I have when I see it happening is kind of like compassion and empathy, because I visualize the people that regularly do that. And I'm like, man, you must be in a lot of pain. And I don't know what's going on for you, but healthy people that are living happy lives don't do that.
Yeah.
So I know something's wrong, and I don't know what caused it, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I almost want to say, like, can I help you?
Yeah.
Because you're obviously something's wrong.
Yeah.
Why would you spend your time doing that? Yeah. It's an interesting thing. This weaves into social media and our ability to communicate without sitting like this.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I don't do this show through Zoom calls. I want this.
Yeah.
I want to sit with people and look them in the eyes and figure out what's up with their life, you know, and the world needs more of that. I think we should all try to, if you got something to say or do, good or bad, get physically up and go do it. But don't sit in your house. Blip, 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 blip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, anytime I've actually ever got angry to that point, by the time I get to the like, or I'm going to start typing this up, like, I'm like, is this worth my, like,
what's it doing for you?
well, it's doing nothing for me.
That's 10 minutes
that's
you
just
could have
negative.
been drawing or painting.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And that's why you're doing well in life. And that's why I'm trying to send a message. I'm trying to help people to understand, like, you're not changing anything with your negativity. You are. You're changing your own life.
Yeah.
You're taking time away from your kids, time away. There's something you love, something that needs your love.
Yeah.
And you're removing time from it to spit hatred or negativity towards something else. So, you know, just trying to start a little bit of an idea around that. And maybe somebody is like, he's right. What? I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, winners in life, know a lot of them.
Yeah.
I ask that question all the time. Have you ever written something negative online? And the answer, without one exception, is no, I never have.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's something to think about. If you're out there doing that, you aren't exhibiting the behavior of successful people. Successful people don't do that.
Yeah.
So look in the mirror, ask yourself honest questions, decide what kind of person you want to be tomorrow, because that's not going to serve you.
Yeah.
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 I think I went on a tangent there.
No, it's good. It's good. You know, you know, sometimes like, you know, in the world right now, how hot everything is. Like, if I catch myself watching too much news or anything like that, I notice like how my energy's so negative that day. So I have to like just remind myself like that. I don't even want to watch or be around negativity. Like, I get up, I walk my dogs, I go exercise. I feel great. I don't need anything to bring me down. Like, I want to, sometimes when I go into shop, feel great. Everything's good. You know, it's good energy. And I notice by like, I'm watching Instagram, the spending too much time on there, or watching the news or anything like that. It just drags you down, man. And
hey, man, media is like food. And what you eat is going to affect the way you feel.
Oh, that's great.
If you eat fucking McDonald's for 3 days straight, you're going to feel pretty shitty. If you're watching all these various news channels, which generally spew really negative stuff, yelling at one another and all that, you're probably not going to, it's just like food. You're going to feel shitty. Yeah. So, you know, what are you consuming is a big part of your day-to-day life, and digital consumption is everywhere. So I think about it like food. I'm like, what am I eating right now?
Yeah.
It's a fine line. I want to be aware of what's happening in the world. And I'm learning techniques to like go to the specific places where I can just get what's going on and leave.
Yeah.
because I don't want to be oblivious. I don't want to have my head in the sand. If there's a war overseas and America's there and they're sending our people to die there, I don't want someone to tell me and I'm like, oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
for sure,
so,
yeah.
but that's a trap, right? Because most people, I think, come at it from that perspective. Like, I just want to know what's going on. So I'll turn on my TV. And then an hour later, you've just consumed, and you may not know what's going on, to be honest, because the narratives that are being spewed by mainstream media, I think, are so skewed. Like, I don't know if you're really getting the real story anyway, but you feel like shit when it's over. So I guess it's an era where we have to be so personally responsible about what we eat. You can't just go down and eat what's being offered at your local corner store. You got to do a little research. What kind of oil are they using in that sauce? Seed oil? Wait a minute. I just heard a whole podcast about how seed oil is an industrial oil. It was never meant to be eaten. And somebody figured out how to put it in food because it's cheap. You know, that's someone taking the personal responsibility for their personal health. You have to do the same thing with politics or anything else. You have to do your own little research on these things if you want it to know what's really going on. That's the world we're in right now. It's survival of the fittest type situation. And, you know, 20 years ago, to be blind to a lot of this, I felt compassion towards those people because we didn't have the ability to get truth. But now, if you're not seeking out truth about food and media and politics on your own, shame on you then. Because it's there. It takes a little time, but you have to do it. It's an era of personal responsibility. So, you know, and it's not easy, you know, it's hard, but that's the work we do to be good humans and good citizens of the United States. And interesting times.
I like that. That's good.
I'm preaching again. I got to stop.
I like it. No, I like it. I like it. I like learning.
Well, I don't know if I taught you anything, but maybe someone heard that and gives a shit. Well, buddy, look, thank you for breaking some time off for me. Such an honor to meet you. I say that a lot because I have great people on the show, but from me to you, it means a whole lot because your work specific to me is a huge inspiration for me. I think you do some of the raddest tattoos ever made. I mean, you're one of the few. I'm scrolling and I see your work and I stop. I screenshot it. I zoom in on it. Like, your work is dope, man.
Thank you.
And thank you for what you've done for me, that inspiration. I know you do that for so many others. And what about, you know, what's next? Is there anything on the horizon people should know about?
Yeah, actually, October every year we do a art show. And I like to bring in tattooers who are like, you know, pushing themselves and doing some art. And this year I kind of came up with this kind of cool concept to honor Freddie Negretti and
I saw that.
His infamous "Smile Now, Cry Later" flash, and I didn't go so. I don't want my old homies to be mad at me, but I wanted to challenge everybody to more the concept of it. So I didn't want to do like a bunch of just like "Smile Now, Cry Later" masks. I wanted to like the thought, like what's your highs and what's your lows. And as I was telling people, it was pretty cool to watch their wheels start spinning. So super excited about this show, October 19th. That'll be at our studio, The Raven and the Wolves.
I'll check my schedule. I'll try to come up and check it out.
It should be a really, really good show. So
I know we've talked about, where can people find you?
Social media, usually the best one.
Just Carlos Torres.
Carlos Torres art. And usually that's on any social media or.
They can DM you straight through there.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty good at responding to people.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you again. Honor having you here. I'll be hanging out with you later. We're going to come down to the showroom floor and hang out a little later. So I'll see you soon. And all you people tuning in, all the love you've been giving me for the show, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. Like, you guys liking, subscribing, that's the only reason I'm here. I'm not going to keep doing it if people don't care. Let me know you care and you have been. I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.